Namaste, and welcome to Vedic Vidya. My name is Jeffrey Armstrong, Kavindra Rishi. Vedic Vidya is available exclusively on Citti Media English channel on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. IST. Our topic tonight is why and how yoga is spreading throughout America, Europe, and the entire world without a budget. Or why yoga is reverse colonizing the world. The first thing to remember is that the knowledge that is taught in India it is forbidden for that knowledge to be taught in a coercive way. It cannot be, and even by conniving and planning and trying to make a strategy to take over, it cannot be made into a weapon. It cannot be used to undermine other cultures. Its only purpose is to enlighten and awaken and to make healthy and to help harmonize our behaviors with nature. And at the basis of that worldview and that body of knowledge called the Vedic library, just many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands of volumes, accumulated over many, many years. Now, during colonization, something very interesting happened. First, colonization means to go and steal all the valuable things. That's why the British called India the crown jewel in their empire, because it had the most valuable things to extract. But here's the part that's been overlooked. What we call philosophy, science, mathematics, psychology especially, all of these so-called Western academic disciplines were all pieces of knowledge of what the Sanskrit calls Vedic Vidya. They're all part of systems of learning who we really are and of working with and cooperating with the world around us, with nature, which is called Prakriti in Sanskrit. This Prakriti, or cause and effect world, is temporary. So, of course, we need to learn how to work with it, but it has rules and we need to learn to follow those. Now, here's where the colonization of ideas happens. If you go in and take ideas and then rename them and say you discovered it, the term for that is intellectual discovery, but discovery already meant to steal from cultures that are not Christian. And so, the ideas and disciplines that I just mentioned also do not exist in Christianity. It has other things that make it Christianity. It does not have psychology, it does not have philosophy, it does not have the various components of science and that's why science has set itself up as the other religion, the atheistic religion. If you don't like Christianity, become a scientist. Or rather, a scientist claims to have no relation to the supreme in what they're doing. That division is dividing up the spoils that came from colonization, that were taken, especially from India, and then integrated into Western civilization unceremoniously, without a thank you, without recognizing the root Sanskrit language in the Greek and the Latin and the English and the Romance languages and the Russian and the Slavic and all of those Celtic, all of those cultures directly root back to Sanskrit. So there hasn't been time, because colonization hasn't really ended. We still live in an exploitive, profit-only world, for the most part, with rare exceptions and notable ones when it happens. Indeed, there are people trying their best to care for the world, but the vast majority are residually exploiting it. And this is the dilemma that we're in the world right now. And what we call, I'll give you an example, psychology. So psychology, famous psychologists like Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, Abraham Maslow, William Sheldon, Each one of those psychologists stole a piece of Vedic knowledge and made it into their theory. It's just as colonized as a jewel or as wealth and gold that was taken from temples in India and now is in the museums in England. So it is that the ideas were taken. I'll give you an example. Abraham Maslow, the psychologist, said there are levels of development in a human being called hierarchy of needs. And that hierarchy of needs is vertical and goes from the base of the spine up to the top of your head. Now, in yoga, that's called the Kundalini, and the stopping off points are called the 7 chakras. Maslow simply stole that, gave it his own language, made it into his theory. He discovered it. Similarly, Carl Jung went to India, saw Shiva and Durga, the male and female divine, and he said, in a letter to a friend of his, I finally understand the universe. It's male and female divine. Because that's not in Christianity. No one says that in the Abrahamic religions. Not in Judaism, not in Islam, not in Christianity. No one says male and female divine. India starts with male and female divine. Jung saw it, and he said, but if I tell this to the people of the West, they won't accept it. So I'm going to call it anima and animus. So there's another one. And the famous William Sheldon discovered, so-called, that is to say, borrowed, stole, the view from India, from Ayurvedic medicine, called the 3 body types. Skinny, nervous, high-strung, vata. Medium-build, muscular, pitta. Carrying weight and softer body tissue, otherwise known as kapha. So 3 body types, vata, pitta, kapha, made of 5 elements, earth, water, fire, and air. The vata, the nervous skinny type, more air and more space. The fire types, more fire and then some earth, some water, but not so much. And then the kapha, the earth and water type, mostly earth and water with a little bit of fire and air. What did Sheldon do with that? He called vata, the slender, nervous one, ectomorph. He called the one with a little more weight, the one made of earth and water, endomorph. And then he called the fiery one mesomorph. He simply used Latin, called it his own system, and made an entire system of psychology around those body types, archetypes. The word archa is Sanskrit. It's for the sun. And it means all of the images that emerge from nature that are archetypal, that have their own distinctive perception. So I'm just giving you 3 examples because our time is short. But try to see that those 3 so-called schools of psychology were actually simply stolen from yoga, taken from the heart of the Vedic civilization, from Ayurvedic medicine, from yoga, from the process of personal transformation and growth. So, that colonization is called intellectual discovery. You take something, it's not in your culture, you rename it, you disguise it, and you go, ta-da, I just discovered something. I discovered it. No, you colonized it. You stole it from a culture. I'll end with this. Sigmund Freud, his contribution was psychoanalysis. So guess what? Psycho is the Greek Psyche, the goddess of butterflies. When butterflies are flying around flowers on a bush, the Greeks say the goddess Psyche is there. So psycho is Psyche, butterflies. And analysis is to look at something in great detail. So this is a yoga, and the butterfly, don't you wonder why the goddess of butterflies? Why does psychology mean freeing the butterfly? Because as an artistic metaphor in yoga, our immortal self is a butterfly. And right now we're a caterpillar busy eating the material world. But But someday, if we're lucky, we become a butterfly. Suke logia. Sigmund Freud didn't invent it. He just twisted it and called it his own. Vedic Vidya means shining the light of truth. My name is Kavindra Rishi, Jeffrey Armstrong. See you next time, and have a Namas day.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.